And the first thing I want to teach you guys is about invisible boundaries. What is that exactly? What does that even mean? How many of you guys play board games? Let's say Monopoly or Candyland or Sorry, right? Yeah. You can only move the places that dice provides you. You cannot go beyond the dice. That's what boundaries are all about. They're created based on your terms. They're created based on what you want. And sometimes we're so sweet and we're so loving and we're so caring that those boundaries are not even there. We say, yeah, I have a strict time. How many people have an alarm on their clock that says 11 p.m. bedtime? And at 11:05, you're still up watching your favorite TV show. Or it's 10 p.m. bedtime, and at 10:05, you're still watching your favorite TV show, right? I know I do that. I have that alarm at my clock. This is 11 p.m., right? That's an invisible boundary that we've kept for ourselves, but we have a hard time fulfilling. Right? Where does that show up in your life? Is there an invisible boundary that you disobey or you're not even aware of that you have? Put in the chat. Let's have them conversation going. Another thing that I would like to talk to you about is, blocking out time on my calendar to work on things, but then still scheduling meetings. Exactly. Thank you, Laura. Right? We have that. Like, you know what? I'm going to do that 90-minute block and then we schedule something else right in between. Or how many of us are saying, okay, you know what? I have this next 10 minutes and I'm going to think about some ideas, but we end up opening up Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, or X, right? And we're scrolling instead of actually doing the things that we're supposed to be doing. Organizing my tasks by priority and not sticking to the order. Yes, absolutely. How many of you have a to-do list that gets hardly crossed off and that to-do list keeps growing and growing that you have to throw it away and create a brand new one? Yeah, I have to do that too. Yeah, Regina's all of the above. Yeah. So when we think about invisible boundaries, it's not only about ourselves with you and you, it's about the people around you. Saying yes to things that I'm not thrilled to do. Yeah, exactly. How many of us are like, you know what, I have to do laundry, but you know what, I'll do it tomorrow. How many are the tomorrow people? I'll just do that tomorrow, right? Yeah. And it shows up because how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? Say it with me. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you put one thing off, what other things are you putting off? If you're crystal clear on one thing, how many other things are you crystal clear on? Right? It works both ways. There's also a thing that, I don't know if you know this, but every time you say yes to something, you're automatically saying no to something else. Right? You all said yes to showing up over here, which means you're saying no to Wheel of Fortune, maybe. Maybe you're saying no to the basketball game that's going on, or maybe you're saying no to having dinner, right? What? Because you're committed to saying yes to this call, which is what matters the most. All right, so give yourself a round of applause for showing up and saying yes to yourself today. Right? So give me another example. What are you saying yes to on a daily basis? What is it that you're committed to every single day without fail? What are some of your non-negotiables? One of my non-negotiables is before going to bed, I think about 3 things that I'm grateful for and how they made me feel. I make sure I write that down before going to bed. Oh yeah, taking a walk 3 to 4 mornings in a week. I love that. Thank you, Daniela. Having time for coffee in the morning, getting outside at least a couple times per day. Thank you, Laura. Yes. Especially when the weather is nice and bright outside, it definitely makes a difference. Yeah, because when we have these non-negotiables, they make us feel healthy, right? Because when we're unhealthy up here, everything else spirals down. And it then creates an epidemic that we don't want to create. I walk in the afternoon. I did 2 walks today. Good job, Janice. Thank you so much for saying yes to that. So yeah, so it's just having that ability, having that awareness. Also, what are some of the things that you're saying no to? For me, I have a 15-minute timer on my social media platform. It means I cannot exceed more than 15 minutes because then it grays out. And I know, okay, and if it grays out, there is an option. Remind me for a minute or remove for the ultimate day or remind me again for 15 minutes. And I know how many times I press that because next thing I know, that's 15 minutes have turned into 45 minutes. So how many of us have a non-negotiable that we say no to on a consistent basis? Or we have a little bit of a tighter boundary? Sadly, I don't think I have a non-negotiable. I need some. Yes, appointments before 8 a.m. I don't go to bed later than 11:30 during the week. Yeah. And Karen, what would be an example of something that you would need? Do you have an example of something that you would like for us to implement with you? No meetings before 10 a.m. Yeah, my meetings are like, it's always after 8:30, nothing before that. Yeah.
Overall, I think that, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, overall, my non-negotiable, I get into email first thing, and I know so many people have said don't do email first thing, and that definitely derails my morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having that awareness, right? Sometimes we don't even know that we're doing it because 98% of our behavior patterns are at an unconscious level. Only 2% of our day-to-day is at our conscious level. So a lot of the time it's just by habit. I'm just going to turn over, pick up my phone. I'm just going to open up that email app, right? Even though we know we're not supposed to do that, we still do it. I do that with social media. First thing in the morning, I check social media. I don't know why that's the case, but that's something that I do that I'm working on making it better. I only do virtual work for one particular client. I love that. Thank you so much, Lisa. Yeah. So having that awareness, right? What are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? And then when you make that decision, check in with your stomach, check in with your heart, check in with your mind. Is it beating faster? Is your heart beating faster? Do you have knots in your stomach? Right? Pay attention to how your body is feeling as you're making these decisions. Do you feel constricted? Do you feel stressed when you're making a decision? Or do you feel more relaxed and at peace and openness? Right? So start paying attention how these invisible boundaries show up in your life.